I'm going to steal that. Have a lion's welcome, right?
A roar.
A roar. Can we have a roar?
Arr!
Woo! All right. Well, hello, everyone, or should I say bonjour? This is my third time at Cannes, and unfortunately, my French has not gotten any better. Anyway, welcome to Creative Impact. So this is a stream that we co-curate, WAR co-curates with our friends at Cannes Lions. And this is where we ask some of the biggest questions and problems that are facing brands and marketers today. And I know it's been a long ass week. It's been very, very hot. And if you want to catch up with the week, don't forget to tune into the WARC podcast or sign up to our newsletters. At the very end, we're going to be showing a QR code, so don't forget to go and scan because you'll get all of the best effectiveness insights from across the week. But first, who exactly are we? So my name is Rika Facundo. I'm the managing editor for WARC APAC. I'm based in Singapore, and marketers back at home, sometimes they refer to me as their marketing therapist. I'm there to help listen to all of their problems. Yeah, rant all your problems away. And this problem is one of the big ones. How do we scale in a social first era? And joining me today to unpack that and provide solutions is my partner in crime based in Singapore as well, Kaveri Kular, SVP of APAC Marketing and MasterCard. Let's give both of us a round of applause. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get into it. You, me, Kaveri, and probably a lot of people in the industry kind of feel like this panda. And if you don't, you should be feeling like this panda. You're secretly or not so secretly eye-rolling, whinging, and kind of ranting every time you hear the phrase, make it go viral, okay? It's really important for us to call it out right now because, I'm on the Creator Palais. The unofficial title I've been hearing lately is that we is Creator Can. There's a lot of money that's going into social and creator marketing. And, I get it. But Kaveri and I were here to be real with you guys. We are here to interrogate the fundamental questions we need to be asking ourselves, which is not only what creator marketing does well, but also what are its limits. So, what's one of its limits? The first one is that virality is an outcome and not a strategy. Okay? Oh, yeah, woo! Okay, love you, girl, okay. So there are two risks involved when you treat virality as a strategy. The first one is when it is divorced from, commercial metrics, and you're only relying on engagement metrics to, as your success, your gauge of success. The second risk, which to be honest, is something that we don't talk about a lot, which is virality is an unpredictable strategy for growth, okay? Virality is dependent on factors that brands can influence but cannot control. Cultural timing, algorithmic favor, and whether an idea genuinely resonates with the audience that you are trying to reach. Which is why I'm really excited to present the second edition of our landmark Asian effectiveness study called the PACE Principle. I don't know how many people here are not from Asia, but Asia is such a dynamic region. And not only that, we are home to the cultural and social capitals in the world. Korea, Japan, Philippines, where I'm from, where I think everyone, including myself, is always on their phone, which is probably why I'm presenting on this topic today. We are launching the full report in July, but for everyone here, I'm giving you an exclusive sneak peek of some of those findings. The first finding, or the core finding, is this idea that social has 3 ceilings. And every ceiling at every level is kind of defined by a constraint. We have the platform ceiling, which is constrained by the algorithm. And organic content has a short shelf life if you do not boost with paid media. Unfortunately, a lot of brands get stuck in the platform ceiling. To break the platform ceiling, you have to design ideas that can escape the platform. Then we have the cultural ceiling, and this is usually constrained by a moment or a trend. Let's take this week, for example. Of course, everyone, your brand's creators, your grandmother, I know your mother, you called your mother yesterday, so she's talking about Can. But eventually, the moment will die and the conversation will die. Which brings me to the third ceiling, which is the self-sustaining ceiling. This is constrained by credibility. Creators carry ideas they trust, influence compounds across communities. This is the holy grail that brands want to achieve, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but the self-sustaining ceiling cannot be bought. It has to be earned, not in a moment, but over time. Yeah? So let's zoom into the platform ceiling now, because that's where a lot of people get stuck. So we can figure out how to level up together. To break the platform ceiling, do not conflate social strategy with social media. When we looked at the data, we found that the most effective social campaigns actually don't rely on social networking sites. That's the red bar over here. The most effective campaigns are those that might start on social or online, but you amplify the message across multiple touch points. And most importantly, you have a system in place to capture that demand, because at the end of the day, it has to deliver results, right? Or else you're in big trouble and you might not get that budget again next year. So social superpower is the fact that it can generate conversation, but its superpower is also its constraint. It is very, very hard to get people talking about your brand at a meaningful scale, especially across fragmented audiences and communities. It is possible, but it is really, really, really hard to do. Like I said earlier, virality is, an unpredictable route to growth. So I'm not saying don't do it, but the question is, how do we hedge our bets so that we give our ideas the best chance to generate those returns? So I know there are creators here, but burst your bubble, you're not the only lever that marketers and brands can pull. And we have to recognize that social is good at some things, and it's good at not. There are some things it's not good at. Social is good at generating short-term response, but not as effective in generating long-term market share. So if that's the case, you should also be deploying emotional strategy that's targeted to broad audiences so that you can reach more of your category buyers, the people who might not see your social post on the feed. You need to kind of, again, hedge your bets across the board. And what this data tells me when I discovered it was it reminded me of a fundamental principle. Media choices are the execution of strategy, not the strategy itself. You need to start with your objectives, your targeting, and get that alignment. And when you do that, our data shows that you can actually increase your campaign effectiveness by 70%. And let's go back to the question I asked everyone here, which is, how do you scale in a social first, right? Scale is huge. Why aren't you not going to deploy multiple strategies to do that? Social is one, but you need to understand the dynamics of social, but emotion is another. And once you understand how they work together, your results can compound. Now, I want to end this talk on one of my favorite campaigns from Spikes Asia. It won bronze. So for those of you who don't know, Spikes Asia is the home of Asian creativity, and it's for KFC. And I love it because it's so Thai. I don't know if you've watched a lot of Thai content, but it's just so funny. But again, it showed how you start on social, but it actually amplified across there. So I hope you like the case study.
Hold up.
My KFC บูดักดังวิงส์เห็นมีขายแล้วสิโอ้โหพอเลิกจะให้ผมไปแนะนำไก่นี้ได้ยังไงเนี่ย
KFC have just collabed with the spiciest noodles on
Thai
the internet.
influencer walks out of KFC.
ผมจะมาแนะนำให้ไข่กินได้ไงบ้าเปล่าจะให้ผมไปแนะนำไก่นี้ได้ยังไงเนี่ยหน้าผมนี่ผมจะมาแนะนำให้ไข่กินได้ไงKFCพวกคุณเตรียมคุยกับทนายผมได้เลยอ๋อไก่นี่มันเผ็ดเกินไป
แต่เขายังใช้งานคุณอยู่เลยนะ ยังเอาไปแบบเชิญชวนให้คนมากินอยู่เลย
KFC ฮะเขาจะเอาฟุตเทจของผมเนี่ยไปออนแอร์อยู่ดีฮะที่ผมบอกเลยว่าอย่าทำเลยอย่าเอาผมไปเกี่ยวแล้ว KFC ทำแบบนี้เนี่ยหมายความว่ายังไงค
ต
รั
อบ นนี้เราก็อยู่หน้าร้านเคฟซีนะครับได้ข่าวว่าตอนนี้เคฟซีเขาไปกิน
ปกติเนี่ย
ยังไม่หยุดถ่ายกันอีกหยุดเลยนะห้ามลงโฆษณานี้ด่าผมไม่เกี่ยวเลิกเลย
I dare everyone to, I think that's spicier than how spicy I feel with this heat. Just want to call out, that was from Publicist Thailand, great case study. And on that note, I'm going to, this should be at the end, so I'll ask them to play it later. But I will call on my next speaker, Kaveri. There you are, I thought you were behind me.
No.
Let's give her a round of applause, guys.
All right. Rika, will you hold on to my glasses?
Oh,
They're very
yes.
expensive and I can't afford to lose any more things. I lost my laptop on my way in, by the way. So give me some love. Hot, hot, hot. The last decade has been hotter than ever before. And I'm not talking about global warming that we're all feeling intensely here. I'm talking about trends, explosive trends, toys, beverages, social apps that went soaring to stratospheric heights. Social media influencers, celebrities, creators whipped up a frenzy. And these trends dominated conversations, headlines, and wallets almost overnight. And then what happened? With nothing to sustain that momentum and that frenzy, gravity took over and they collapsed. Why? Because social media did not do the job that it was meant to do. The creators didn't do a good enough job. Absolutely not. They did exactly what they were designed to do. Spark the cultural conversation, accelerate early adoption. But then, with nothing beyond that, as Rika said, the plans hit a platform ceiling. And the decline was as rapid, if not more rapid, than their way up. The thing is that as marketers, we're very good at creating that launch moment, that viral moment, the liftoff. What we need to be even better at, however, is attaining orbit, i.e., moving with consistency and cohesion, and ultimately getting to escape velocity. What do I mean by escape velocity? Does it mean that whatever we are doing does not need any more fuel? Absolutely not. What I mean is that we invest in it in such a comprehensive way through ecosystem thinking and a lot more that I'm going to talk about, that over time it gains a life of its own and it does not need resuscitation. It only needs continued nourishment. Now, that I promise is the end of my physics metaphors. I'm going to move to what puts food on my table as a woman in payments. So very quickly, sharing with you a framework called CHARGE. And why do I say charge? Because I think it is important for all of us here and beyond this to take charge. Okay? So what's charge now? 6 principles. 6 principles to achieve escape velocity over a period of time. It is not going to happen overnight. It will not happen with a single campaign or a single program. What is it? Cultural credit. Moving the conversation beyond the social feed into communities. Right? It's what real people talk about. It's not just what brands say. Habit building. No amount of conversation will lead to conversion unless and until we are giving consumers something they can go to in order to consume, to spend, to make a choice. So building a repeatable model around that. Assets that are distinctive. You know this. You've got to have distinctive assets. You've got to brand the memory. You have to create memory structures. Relentless reach and relevance. We've all grown up on a very rich diet of Byron Sharp, haven't we? Right? You've got to reach out to all category buyers. Let's never forget that. And what's G? Growth through new rails. The inflection point is not going to come from doing the same thing over and over again. We know that. It is going to come from new partners, new channels, new formats, new audiences. And finally, ecosystem mindset. If I had a dime for every time someone used that without really meaning it, I would own a yacht in Cannes. So we're going to talk more about that when we get to an example. Okay? So my first example is McLaren. And we became sponsors of McLaren in 2025, late 2024. Now you'd say, oh wow, with an asset like that, MasterCard, how easy it is for you to drive brand preference. Think again. Do you know how competitive that space is, particularly in payments? So no, it's not that easy, okay? So what did we do? We decided to, first of all, when the Singapore Grand Prix was coming to town, we said, what's going on with the Singapore Grand Prix? And what data told us was something very interesting and very unique to the Singapore Grand Prix, by the way, the night race. It is the biggest cross-border magnet. People come in from all over the world to be in Singapore. Do they all have tickets to watch the race? They don't. How fascinating. Why would you come to the most expensive country in the world when it is even more expensive? 30% more expensive. It beats me. I will not get into that. But here's the hard truth. 99% of the fans, of racing fans, this is a statistic for McLaren, I'm sure you can extrapolate it to all of racing, 99% will never smell the rubber. 99% of the fans will never get to high-five trackside. That was a problem. MasterCard is all about giving access. It is about connecting people to priceless possibilities. But how are we going to do that when assets are so finite? What were we going to do? Someone said at a talk earlier this morning, the best briefs begin with social listening. So we decided to go to our audiences and say, what are they saying to us? And they said, we love pit stops. We almost love pit stops more than anything else, unless there's a great win or a surprise win or a surprise loss. More than 10,000 conversations are triggered on Reddit with consumers dissecting the pit stop blow by blow. And they love the pit crew. And that led to a deeper human truth. It's not just Lando and Oscar who have a pit crew. We all have a pit crew. Do you agree with me? Do you all have your personal pit crew? Yes, yes. When I lost my laptop, oh my God, there are many people got recruited into my pit crew. I'm looking at them, thank you very much. Okay? So we said, you know what? We're not going to stop at celebrating the fans alone. We are going to celebrate the people behind the fans, the ones that hold them up, that elevate them, that support them. And that led to the first part of our campaign, which was, of course, we sparked a conversation with creators, but first with Lando. And Lando said, tell us who your pit crew is and why, and you will be able to unlock incredible priceless experiences. Creators took over. They made their own stories. They didn't just amplify. They expressed their own pit crew in their own unique ways. Some of the posts were really moving, really touching, and others were really funny, and some were absolutely ridiculous. And then we made them meet and greet the drivers. Have a quick look at the videos. Oops.
I want to know who's in your pit crew and why. The ones who push you, support you, and keep you going.
If there's one thing that I've learned from my years of working in sport, it's that you can't achieve success without your pit crew. For me, my pit crew is my fellow women in sport who are often just off camera cheering me on when I'm presenting, helping me produce a TV show, or just bringing my name up in rooms when I'm not around.
Okay, so sparked the conversation. We had entries that came in from multiple cities, even cities where we were not running this campaign. Somehow they got wind of it. That's the beauty of social. And they sent us entries, and we were like, next year, we will do this in 20 cities and not 7 or 8. But we had to take it beyond that. Remember, conversation does not automatically lead to conversion. What did we do? We decided to take over the entire city of Singapore. All of Singapore became our circuit. And we built pit stops. When I say we built pit stops, we worked with 2,500 merchants in Singapore, and we call them MasterCard pit stops. We put our arms around them. We gave them access to the McLaren IP. The McLaren IP, you know, would cost a few $1 million, at least $1 million, even for a small merchant. We said, no problem. We will give you access. Lou and team from McLaren are brilliant, okay? And in doing so, we also supported them. We became their pit crew, and they, of course, are our pit crew. If you guys have never been to Singapore, the joke is that if you run for 30 minutes, you will reach Malaysia. So 2,500 outlets is really saturating the city. What happened at these outlets? As a MasterCard card holder, each time you went into these MasterCard pit stops, you tapped 10 transactions up to $1,000, you got closer to McLaren. You didn't get closer. You got McLaren rewards. You got official merch. You unlocked experiences and rewards. Assets. Well, MasterCard logo is reasonably well known. People identify with it. But we had to brand MasterCard pit stops and have them everywhere. So we had contextual media. You will see some of it on the next slide. And we made sure that wherever people went in the city, but also as they were flying into Singapore, they saw the MasterCard Pit Stop campaign and a very simple way to unlock those rewards. Okay? Now, that's Team Priceless. I'm going to show a video. What was Team Priceless? Team Priceless basically was us recruiting fans, actual fans, not necessarily famous influencers, guys. We said, come, be a part of our team. We will give you unprecedented behind-the-scenes access, and in doing so, you will do the content streaming, which is what you're wonderful at doing, right? Now, this has been done by a wonderful team at McCann, is going to become much bigger and better, but again, amplified that extensively, brought them into the fold. Reach and recency, as I said. From the time you landed at the airport, got into your Grab, went to outlets, went out to malls in Singapore, we were everywhere, reminding people, building memory structures, building habit. And finally, ecosystem mindset. What is ecosystem mindset? In my mind, when you're designing a journey where consumers can move seamlessly and every touch point triggers the next, to me, that's an ecosystem. It's almost something that's on autopilot, not literally, but that's what you do. You fuel the next, right? So, starting with creators, we built the flywheel, went on to commerce, contextual media, rewarded the fans, and we took this experience to the Australian Open because it became a framework, and then to the Melbourne Grand Prix. The uplift that you see here is 22% year on year. I am not declaring this as the best thing after sliced bread at all. This is just an example. I don't think a campaign can be declared effective if it's a single year campaign, right? You got to build on it year after year after year. So hopefully back next year or the year after to tell you how we are going. That takes me to the second and last case that I have to share with you. Now, I've spoken about how to go beyond just social media. Rika spoke about it with statistics as well, right? But we often as marketers need to ask ourselves another question, a different question. Are we doing right by creators? Are we doing right by the social media influencers, right? Because if you're not, then we're not being fair to them, we're not being fair to ourselves. And I like to call this, it's borrowed from a friend, I like to call this leveraging creators as embedded operators. They're part of the knitting. They're not the embellishment. So, sorry, I keep going because I'm confused between the two screens. We had a cross-border brief. This gets interesting. We had a cross-border brief. Now, cross-border for MasterCard is our bread, jam, butter, caviar, everything, right? Year after year, we run cross-border campaigns. What happens? MasterCard gives you offers and experiences, unlock rewards and discounts. Consumers are expected to respond to that and use MasterCard. We do well, but do we reach an inflection point? Not quite. So what were we going to do? We decided, again, to listen to consumers, right? And that got us to an insight, which for me is a personal insight as well. Whenever I travel to any place, like I have come here to Cannes, I wish I knew a local in the city. Don't you all wish that? Yeah? Because the city just feels different. You know where to go, you know what to do, you know where to shop, you know where to eat, you know how to avoid the tourist hotspots. Why is that so difficult, by the way? Well, it is difficult because in today's world, there is such an information overload. Information is abundant, trust is scarce. What is lacking is trusted intelligence. And the CNBC quote puts it very well. For many travelers, the process of planning their trips is a grueling slog through endless recommendations, price comparisons, and messy browser tabs. Increasingly, they're outsourcing the task to artificial intelligence, but hallucination and trust gaps remain. So, we built a recommendation engine. Now you're going, okay, yet another recommendation engine, no thank you. But wait, like I said, what we needed was trusted intelligence. What we needed was a matchmaker between demand, there is demand, consumers want amazing experiences, they want a local in the city, and supply, we have all these experiences, what's missing is a matchmaker. And with that, we worked with curators, creators, local creators, became the spine of our platform. I'm going to play a video now which explains the idea. Imagine this. You've booked flights to your dream destination. Now, don't you wish you knew a local in that city? A discerning friend who could guide you away from the tourist traps and give you insider access to its best kept secrets? So here's introducing the MasterCard Lifestyle Navigator, a concierge-style platform powered by local creators, verified tastemakers, and premium content partners. The Navigator asks a few simple questions. When are you traveling? Who are you going with? What kind of a trip do you want? What do you really enjoy doing? And then something magical happens. Experiences recommended by creators and tastemakers start surfacing for you to browse and select in real time. And along the way, you are served offers that unlock benefits you might otherwise have missed. The Navigator adapts instantly, geo-specific, dynamically responsive, delivering location-aware recommendations and real-time itinerary updates. Because when the right experience meets the right person at the right time, it's not just valuable, it's priceless. Thank you. I will go to a voice modulation class once I'm done with Can. But really the point of this platform, there are a couple of points. Firstly, not every campaign brief or not every brief necessarily lead to a campaign, right? It can be more than that. It could also be a platform. A platform becomes a gift that keeps on giving. My colleague here, Jersey, whose name I have mispronounced, I know, has won a Cannes Lions, is the master of creating such platforms. Go talk to him. But when we talk about cultural credit in the context of creators, we're talking about not only leveraging them as storytellers, we're talking about making them the spine of our plan, the spine of our strategy. Not always, but as I said, bring them into the fold. Use them as knitting, not just as the embellishment. Now, I'm not going to belabor the point around MasterCard Lifestyle Navigator too much. The reason it builds habit in the everyday is because you can go to it, it's an LLM, you can talk to it, you can tell it where you're going, what you're doing, who you're going with. Offers, experiences start to surface based on what you love, what your passions are. Well, there is relentless reach and recency because it's an app, it's a platform you can go to at any given time and grow through new rails. It's a platform. It's not yet another campaign that people are going to just gloss over. And finally, this truly is ecosystem thinking because we have created value for everyone. Think about going to a country. What does the tourism board want in that country? Don't just go to the cities that everybody goes to. Please come. In Indonesia, the tourism minister told us, don't just go to Bali. There are 11 islands. We're going to surface those islands here. The other 10 islands here, right? Merchants, local businesses will show up on this platform. They may not have the media dollars to always show up on Google or on ChatGPT for that matter, but they will show up here because we will prioritize them. So with that, I am going to end my conversation by saying, firstly, are we ready to take charge? Yes. I want to hear it from you. Yes? Okay. Thank you very much. And I think it's incumbent upon us. It's incumbent upon us who are so passionate about a discipline to genuinely take charge, to do right by creators, but not over-rely on them. It's not fair on them. It's not fair on us. Thank you. Thank you for listening.